Okay, good evening, everyone, to everyone in the room, to our candidates, and to everyone watching online, to this first of the election debates for the Newcastle Student Union elections 2023. My name's Martha. I am one of the editorial team at The Courier. I'm studying for my Masters, and I'll be your host this evening. Just a few notices before we get going. So first of all, I'm going to read out the NUSU Student Media Election Debate Statement of Respect. So NUSU welcomes all Newcastle University students to the 2023 election debates organised and broadcast by NUSU Student Media. Our priority is to facilitate a fair and democratic election. We believe in freedom of speech and the right for all students to express their views. However, we will not tolerate harassment or discrimination of any kind. We ask that at all times you treat fellow students, colleagues and staff with respect. Anyone displaying rude, aggressive or other inappropriate behaviour within the question submission form or in the room will be immediately removed and will be unable to play an active role in this or future debates relating to the 2023 student elections. So relating to that, all the questions tonight have been pre-submitted using a form for vetting purposes, so there'll be no questions from the room and the YouTube comments on the live stream have been turned off for the same reason. And so very soon I'm going to be handing over to our candidates. Just a note to them, if you could introduce yourself with your name and your pronouns, that would be wonderful. And there'll also be no need to ask for any of the questions to be repeated because they will be on the screen up there if you need them. So that's everything from me for now. Good luck, everyone.
Good evening, guys. I'm Vaishnavi Bhatt. I'm doing my master's in biomedical engineering, and I'll be your moderator for today's debate. I'll give you 1 minute. You can go around and introduce yourselves. I'll start with Chloe.
Hello, I'm Chloe Henderson. I'm a third year education student and my pronouns are she, her. I'm running for education officer. So the reason I'm running is because I feel really passionate about education. I've studied it. When people ask me what I'm studying, they kind of just give me like blank face, bit of like why? And what I kind of respond with is, in education, one of the most important things is if you can make that change, be that change, and if you can be that safe place, be that safe place. So following on from that, my manifesto points are accessible and inclusive education, prioritising well-being, reform and assessments for transparency and support, like academic support, sorry. So including that, I would like to make cheaper transport fares. We're the only one in the North East that don't do this. I'd like more wellbeing events, make it easier to get a support plan, and I'd like more ways to be able to get your assessments remarked if needed.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Karis?
Okay, hi, I'm Karis. I'm a third year linguistics student and my pronouns are she, her, and I'm running for education officer. I have experience as secretary on my student staff committee, as school rep for English, and I'm currently coordinator for Nightline. I'm running because I feel like I've participated a lot in the education of this university so far and love to continue my work. My main points on my manifesto are continued and better support for cost of living, reviewed PECs and decreased waiting time for PECs, reviewed assessments on waitings, and student support increased and bettered that way as well. I look forward to this debate, and when voting opens on March 6th, please vote me number 1.
Thank you. Asad?
Well, my name is Asad Qayyum. I'm doing my master's in applied linguistics in TESOL. Actually, so far as my experience is concerned, I have an educational background. I worked for different international and national organizations in the field of education. I led different organizations in Pakistan, such as Pak-US Alumni Network, which is the largest alumni network across the world, working in different countries. During my stay at Newcastle University, I got involved in different activities, such as I've been volunteering for the NEST. It is an NGO working for the working for the grooming of the immigrants, okay, and for excelling their language standards as well. So my motto is inclusivity equality, empowerment, and collaboration. Actually, I want to strengthen the academic representation, being education officer. Thank you.
Yeah, that's 1 minute. Thank you, guys. So let's begin the debate. All the best. So here's your first question. There have been several concerns that the issues raised during student staff committee meets are not being addressed effectively. It is a long time for the plans to be put into actions. As an education officer, how will you ensure that the voices of reps are being heard and visible changes are being made in this regard? I'd like to begin with Asad.
Well, that's a very interesting question. Actually, being an education officer, it will be my first priority to forward the suggestions which I will receive from the class representatives and the students to the concerned authorities, and I will try to make sure this thing that their issues and challenges are addressed in the right manner.
Right. Karis, do you agree with him, or do you like to pose an opposing view?
I agree that they should be given to the right people who will deal with the right manner. I think that we also need to work on a smaller scale and make sure that all SSEs have communication methods through Teams or some sort of messaging service that isn't just emails, because that can make it very hard to actually continue to put any plans in action between the times between SSC. And I think I would also hold regular drop-in sessions so that if there is something that needs to come up to or someone of like the education officer authority level, or if they're just not certain, then they have someone that they can go and contact, and they know what times that people, well, the presidents and the people at the SSC know what times that I would be available to be able to contact.
Yeah. Right. Chloe, we would like to know your view.
I also agree, but including this, following on from Keris, I would like to be in touch with head of school as education officer. I, as a school rep this year, I'm very in touch with my head of school, and my head of school's amazing with putting stuff into plan. So having all head of schools being in contact with me, being in contact with school reps, I think that's a really good way for things to get implemented quicker. And again, I agree with Keris, some kind of platform like Teams, or even just more regular meetings, because that's been an issue this year. SSCs don't run often enough, and that's been feedback from student reps themselves. So yeah.
Right. Yes. So you would have come across professors going on strike, demanding a higher pay. This has disrupted some courses, specifically management courses. So this is a question I've been given from some of my management peers. And as the professors are not uploading the materials on Canvas for the classes that have not been conducted, this is a serious issue for the students. As an education officer, how can you use your authority to address this issue? I would like to start with Chloe.
So it's mentioned in my manifesto. I would like to offer mitigation due to disruption, and I'd also like to put in place that anything that's not taught can't be you can't do in assessments basically. Alongside this, in my manifesto, I have put in that I want clear office hours from staff. So even if you don't get taught it in class, then you've got staff to go to at those hours, which if you've got office hours that are clear and you can go see them, but I think it shouldn't be taught. If it's not taught, it shouldn't be assessed, basically.
Right. What's your view, Karis?
Yeah, I completely agree. If it's not taught, it shouldn't be assessed, as that's not fair on the students. While we respect the staff's right to strike, it wouldn't be fair on students to assess them on things that haven't been covered. I would also want to start working with school reps to organise study groups for modules that are affected, so that people on those modules can come together and study, either talk about the reading they've been assessed, not assessed, the reading they've been assigned, or the content that they have missed, so that they have that community there and to help them keep a schedule and like deal with the days that are called off due to strike.
Right. Asad, do you have anything to add on?
Well, this is the most talked about, issue at campus, and it must be addressed because a large number of students are suffering due to this issue. So, as it is mentioned in my, manifesto that I believe in collaboration. So, I will collaborate with the concerned authorities to solve this issue. Moreover, we can, motivate students to have different specific groups for their, study, okay? So that they may cover, the things which they left due to the strikes of the teachers. Moreover, we can collaborate with the teachers and the concerned authorities that they can arrange some additional classes, additional sessions, as it is happening in some of the departments like the business department or the management department. They have classes on Saturdays and Sundays, like 4-hour or 6-hour classes. They are trying to cover the, syllabus which they missed during the strike days.
Right. Thank you. Being an international student myself, I'm starting to experience the frustration and stress associated with job hunting. As an education officer, how would you help in building a strong alumni network, keeping in mind the benefit of graduate students with no previous work experience, so that the students could easily approach them for referrals? I would like to start with Keris.
I would want to increase alumni events, such as the science careers outside the lab event. They would allow graduates, recent graduates and employers to come in and discuss alternative careers that don't have to be related to their degree, or just alternative ways to take their careers forward, so that graduates and alumni can come together, and that you can help the alumni network develop because they can meet each other there and network there as well. I would also want to increase the awareness of LinkedIn as a platform. The Careers Service do a very good job, but I think that's one of the easiest ways in a very digital world to keep an alumni network alive and going.
Right. What's your view on this, Asad?
Well, that's a very interesting question, and particularly for the international students, those who are studying at this campus as well as in other universities. So, first of all, they must learn that this university has more than 250,000 alumni across the world. Okay, they have already existing some networks on their website, and on the website of university there are some other alumni networks for all the different departments. Through that, those networks, they can connect with different people, those who are already working in the industries. Moreover, what I think about this issue and how we can address it, we can contact to the alumni, those who are working in big organization, and ask them to start some mentoring, mentorship program, where they can place our current students and the graduates for some kind of internship or some kind of job where they can get some experience. Afterwards, they can easily get job, because most of the international students are complaining that they don't have prior experience regarding any job. That's why they face a lot of challenges while getting job. So that will be the best way to connect with different organizations in which our alumni are working. Moreover, as she said that student service is also working really good in this area. If they need any kind of help for getting job or for improving their CV or learn about the market, how they can earn job or how they can find job, so they are doing very good job. Thank you.
Right. So Asad mentioned mentoring program and internship experiences. So what's your view on this, Chloe?
I'd like to say that I actually don't think it's that easy to get internships. So it's a really good idea, but I think you've still got to have some kind of experience to get them. Like, I have a friend that did computing. She's on her internship now, and she found it really, really hard to get an internship. So what I would like to offer is, I'd like to offer an honest referral, like myself, as like a trustee of NUSU, I think it's probably like quite important. I would also like to again, there are like things like LinkedIn are really important. They are a really good way to like get references and stuff. I think like being that kind of that in between students and like their past professors and stuff as well, to get references from like their professors and stuff as well. And things with again with like alumni, it's maybe about trying to get like people come in, like people that are from bigger companies, but in the same time people that are working in like small local companies to have sessions, and I think that's very accessible to do. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Hoping all of us will get a job. Okay. One of the main responsibilities as an education officer is to develop and deliver training for representatives. How do you plan to discharge these duties during your term? I'd like to start with Kairos.
Can I just clarify, do you mean by how do you plan to delegate?
How do you
Or
plan to
unro-
deliver the training programs to the class reps or
Okay.
course reps and school reps?
Fab, thank you.
Right.
So I would work with the NUSU team during the summer, as we would start in July, to make sure that training has been is up to date and is a bit more robust than it currently is. Then I would want to do in-person sessions, but also some online sessions so that it's accessible for everyone. But make sure that there are drop-in times that if you do online, then you can come and talk to me and just have an informal hello session, because I think that can be missed and can be very important for the training sessions, to build that community and to know who your main contacts are.
Right. Chloe?
Similar thing, I would like to do it with, like, I'd like to develop the training in the summer, look at how it's been done in the past, take the positive points from it and then improve what's maybe not being so good. I'd like to offer it kind of like the way the activities officer did for the committee training. I'm president of Education Society and I'm welfare officer of Acapella Society, and we did like in-person training and that was really good. Again, there was the option to do it online, and I think that's important in case people can't make it. Say, like some people like international students may not be able to get back straight away, so online is a good way to do that. And again, things like dropping and making the training available all year round. Something that I learned, because I've been a school rep for 3 years, it was put on Canvas, and that's really good because it means you can still, like, you can access it at any point, and I want to continue with that, but also maybe a more accessible place to find the training, like Teams, because Canvas is a little bit of a pain to use.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Asad, what's your view on this? How would you deliver training sessions?
Well, I agree with them. We can arrange or cascade trainings in both digital and physical, spaces. First of all, what I think that we should, cascade trainings regarding empowering the course representatives. We need to, make them understand about their responsibilities, that what are responsibilities they have while working as course representatives and school representatives. Moreover, we have students from across the world. We have diverse classes. So I intend to, develop a training program for the course representatives about critical thinking, where they will develop their acceptability and agreeable skill, because they will be working with the people having different background, languages, ethnic background, like. Okay, so it is not easy for one to deal with all sort of, students or the people having different backgrounds. So, developing critical thinking and some of the people management skills are very important. I would love to work in this area. Thank you.
That's a good idea. So I came across a manifesto that mentioned that introduction of interdisciplinary elective modules would be beneficial for the students. Can you throw more light upon how it would be brought into action? Chloe?
I don't 100% agree with this. I think it's a good idea, but people that are doing degrees like medicine, so to say, don't have a lot of time to do it. I think it should be an optional module, just like career service. Like there's a career module that you can get within second year and third year within some schools. But I don't agree because I think it might take up some time that isn't need to be like took up within certain degrees. But if some students want it, that isn't a bad thing, and it gives you like an option to explore different things. But again, there's already a careers module which kind of gives you that already. But it's something to be considered, and I am for the students. So if it's something the students want, then that's something that can be brought forward to me. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Right. Asad, do you have any opposing views about this?
No, I don't agree with this idea. It may be an optional course. So, yeah.
Okay. Karis?
I think I would first bring it in as a Canvas course done by, it wouldn't have to be done by the SU, but the SU has one called NUSU development module. I'd bring it in as something similar to that so that we can get, we can see how it would be run and how much popularity it would have as a course, and that way it wouldn't have to actually contribute towards the credit count, and we can test run it before it starts, and then we can ask everyone to just contribute on it, so it is interdisciplinary, and then we could have some sort of certificate or something afterwards if students present a presentation at the end of it, so it's not credited but awarded and can be seen on your CV to develop the interdisciplinary skills. But I think that's how I would do it first to make sure that we can hit everything that is wanted before bringing it in as an elective module.
Right. So here I have some individual questions for you. I will begin with Karis. As you all are aware, we are facing a cost of living crisis. This is particularly affecting students, and the university has begun to take measures to tackle this by providing £1 lunch and free pantry. As an education officer, some of you have mentioned in your manifestos that you would take appropriate actions to address this issue. How do you plan on moving forward in this regard to tackle the issue effectively and make sure student experience is not disturbed by this issue?
Okay, so yeah, I mentioned this in my manifesto as well. So I would continue and expand the £1 meals past the end date of Easter, I believe it is at the moment, to include gluten-free options, vegan, vegetarian, meat options so that everyone can be catered to. And then I would also introduce cost of living as a reason for absence on S3P, so that if you do have to take some time off university because you have to go and work to make money so you can pay your bills, then it won't be reflected negatively onto you. And then I also would like to ensure that all undergraduate lectures are between 9 to 5, so that students are clear of what hours they'll be in university and what hours they have available for work, so they can plan their lives around that before the semester actually starts. I've talked to some postgraduates, and they have lectures outside of those hours because they work a 9 to 5, so I wouldn't want to impose on that for them. So that's why it's just for undergraduates at the moment.
Right. Just to ask around, do you guys have any plans in mind about this?
Well, I agree with her that timetabling is very important for the students. If the lectures will be between 9 to 5, they will be having some free time to do some work to meet their everyday expenses or the monthly expenses. Moreover, this £1 meal and free pastry is available for the students here at campus. It is up till Easter. So I would recommend that this campaign should be extended for the rest of the year.
Right. Do you have any views, Chloe?
So I want to say I think the 9 to 5 idea is an excellent idea. However, there's some students that commute, and have spoken to me about this. They would rather have their like 4:30 to 6:30, because it would be easier for them to like get home. And also on this, I have in my manifesto that I want to get cheaper fares. We're the only university in the Northeast that doesn't offer cheaper fares. And as education officer, I would bring this in. I would lobby with the university, and I'd also lobby local companies. We already have free travel for sports, but that's not everyone. So that's something I'd really want to push. And also, again, with the £1 meal, I want that to be continued on. And things like getting like free wellbeing events as well, like ran by myself if I was to get elected, and also the welfare and equality officer. Yeah.
Right. So the next question is for Asad. As an education officer, what is your take on disciplinary actions?
Well, that's a very interesting question. Actually, discipline is a very basic thing for any of the organization for their successful run. So, if any disciplinary action, any, mishap or any bad action happens from the student side, it must be taken seriously, and their investigation should be fair. Okay. Afterwards, they must face some of the consequences in the light of their action, whether that is fine or the charges, whatever. If the disciplinary action, if the act of the students are minor, they may be given warning for the next time.
Right. Do you guys want to share anything on this topic?
I agree that I'm not very well versed on the disciplinary action or procedure at the moment.
Right.
I've not heard any complaints about it, so I believe it's probably fine. But if it is a concern, then I would work with students to make sure that it's improved and it will not deliver unfair results.
Right. Chloe?
I agree, and I also think the way that disciplinary is dealt with in NUSU at the moment is very well thought out. But I'd also like to say that I want students to be treated as colleagues, and that's something that's really, really important. You don't want to be coming to university and still being treated like you would be in school. So that's something else that I bring forward.
Yeah. So we have a last question for Chloe. Being a course rep myself, I've had concerns from my course mates regarding overlapping assignment deadlines and block teaching method. As an education officer, how would you address this concern?
So in my manifesto, I have put that I want at least 48 hours between assessments. And alongside this, I want to research why the PEC system is the way it is and sort it out, basically. Again, I want the PEC system to be easier, and if students need a student support plan, I want it to be that they have to give less evidence so that they can get a student support plan. So if, say, we can't get the 48 hours in between assessments in, if students really, really feel that they can't, then you've got the student support plan to back them up type thing. Alongside this, we already have in the PEC system self-certificated 1 week PEC, so that's something that should be brought to light and students should be more aware of that.
Right. Do you have any views about the PEC form?
Yeah, I would also like to look into the reason why so many students are applying for PECs. It's very common. Obviously, there's reasons that they can't control, if they've had just a bad time, or if they've had a tragedy happen, or it's just something's happened, then there's obvious reason for PECs. But if it's happening to every student on the same course across one module, then that's an instance for the module, not for the student, and it should be addressed at the root cause. Yeah.
Yeah. Asad, do you have any views?
I myself witnessed this overlapping deadlines for the assignments. We can collaborate with the concerned authorities for having, appropriate deadlines, having, appropriate gap between different modules submissions, so that the students can easily work on their assignments and submit it well in time. Otherwise, students go for the extensions. It is very common in the normal practice over here. Thank you.
Right. So we have a few questions from the audience that we've collected and put it together. There are individual questions as well. So let me just begin with the individual ones, and then we'll move on to the general questions. The first one is for Chloe. How do you aim to ensure that disadvantaged students have access to the same quality of education as others?
Fab. So, sorry. I'd like to, again, work with the Equality and Welfare Officer to make sure that all grants that are available are very pushed to the front of the student union. I didn't realise what was available until I was in second year as a disadvantaged student myself. Alongside that, I would like to offer sessions, study skill sessions, and work with course reps and school reps to get those running at least twice a month within schools. I think it's really important to do things within schools as well, because as school rep, sometimes it's really hard to get feedback from the schools. So it's just about getting study skills and also just getting feedback and getting that feedback and bringing out the best from that. I've said before, the feedback's from you, it's from the students, and I want to implement what the students want.
Right. The next question is for Karis. How do you plan to implement 9 to 5 lectures in courses such as medicine, also in postgraduate courses such as PGCEs?
Well, I mentioned the postgraduate earlier. I wouldn't want to impose on postgraduate courses that do go over, because you might have a 9 to 5 as a job. As medicine, if it has to go over, I would like to introduce 9 to 5 for the majority of courses. I understand that there are some courses that will run over just due to their nature, such as medicine. If it cannot be changed or it cannot be adapted, then it can't be adapted, especially for something as rigid as medicine is, with the amount of hours and content they need to cover specifically being guidelines. So I'd mainly work with courses that are able to do this. It's going back to how it was schedule-wise sort of pre-COVID. So a lot of the run over is because of COVID, where everything was extended due to less people being able to be there, and the content not being covered in that year. So this year and last year, classes being extended to cover that. So working with what was there beforehand and then making improvements where it can be done.
Right. And the last one is for Asad. Can you please expand on your idea for well-being initiatives?
That's a very interesting question. The way I see the well-being is very important for all the students. So we have already existing systems for the well-being of the students. They are providing, support for the students, those who are having any kind of issues while studying over here. Okay, and we can also arrange some of these sessions digitally for the well-being of the students. We can receive feedback from the classroom representatives about any issues they are facing, okay, or their classmates are facing. We can come up with a program which we can run afterwards. Thank you.
I hope that answers the audience questions. And moving on to the general questions for all candidates. Okay, before I ask this question, is any of you studying undergrad course?
Yeah.
Both of you?
Yes.
Okay. So I think this will be more relatable for you. What is your experience of being an undergraduate student at Newcastle University? Chloe?
I actually really love being at Newcastle University. I have took every opportunity that I can. I've been a school rep for 3 years. I'm on 2 committees. I was a course rep. And alongside that, I love my professors. They are like so kind. They're really welcoming. And I think at the student union, there's so many opportunities already. And if I was to become education officer, I just want to help expand those opportunities that are already there.
Right. Karis?
So I've also very much enjoyed my degree. Being able to be at Newcastle for 3 years has been amazing. I have got involved with a lot, but I also was COVID impacted my experience a lot as well. So I'm trying to make up for lost time this year and do absolutely everything possible. I'd love to just make sure that everyone is able to access the opportunities that I have with the SU and with schools and all the give it a go things that are going on. And make sure that everyone is aware of what's going on, because I found, especially with COVID, the first few years, I wasn't aware of what was happening. And now that I'm in my last year, it's, like I said, making up for lost time, just trying to do everything so I can say that I've had a classic university experience.
Right. So I think one of the questions is on the same lines, but do you think this role is it's more about an undergraduate experience than a postgraduate?
I don't agree with it. This role is suitable for everyone. The main purpose behind this role is for any of the student who is willing to come forward to share his or her experiencing for the well-being and betterment of the students, those who are studying over here. It's all about, providing a kind of support and collaborate with the students to learn about their experiences, their challenges, their issues, and put all these things at the appropriate platform for their solutions. So anyone can come forward for this position. I don't see any kind of discrimination, because inclusivity is one of the element in my manifesto. So anyone can come forward and put or give his or her best for the well-being and betterment of the students, I believe.
Right. Thank you. So there's one question about accommodation. Will you lobby for better support for language students coming home after a year abroad, looking for housing, and extend university accommodation to them? Karis?
Yes, if people have, not just language students, but there's also, with the rise of cost of living, there has been an increase in student homelessness. So I want to lobby for increased accessibility into housing, and if people aren't able to find, if students coming back from abroad or there's no regular students aren't able to find housing or accessible housing, then help try and make room in our accommodation for those students. There are some students who never show up at the beginning of the year because they've changed their mind last minute. There are students who drop out halfway through. There are accommodation rooms that are available, so if they are not being used, they should be used in this occasion.
Right. What's your view on this, Chloe?
I agree, but I also think that there's certain things that need to be pushed forward by the university. I'm not sure if it's still in place, but I will double check this. But there was like a web page ran by NUSU, and that was to find housemates, and that's like a really good thing for people that are on year abroad, or maybe students that didn't get in time for student accommodation because they were too late. Although universities are really good with getting people in, especially in first year, where you can find people to live with. And also there's a page on Facebook where you've got it's called NUSU Houses to Let. And that's already there for people to find housing. I think, yes, university accommodation should be extended, but also it's a very different experience being in, say, third year as it is to being in first year. And I also think it's working with the local companies to make things more affordable. There's a questionnaire going around right now, actually, from student surveys about cost of living and how that's impacted us. And I think moving forward from that, once they've got response, things will be put in place. But it's just kind of putting that response forward and finding the best opportunities available.
Right. Asad, what's your view on student accommodation?
Well, that's a very interesting question. Actually, this is the problematic area, particularly for the international students, because accommodation is a big issue now. This is what I'm hearing in the town. So I would like to collaborate with the administration that they should extend accommodation, particularly for the international students, and provide more support how they can easily find out accommodation so that they may make their stay, educational journey more comfortable.
Right, thank you. So here's one last question. Why did you choose to study at Newcastle University? That's a very generalized question. Chloe?
It's close to home. I live like a 40-minute bus journey away, so it's really, really close to home. And I just really like the homeliness of it. And that's not because I live near. It's just like the student feel of being at Newcastle University. There's a lot of good societies. Sounds a little bit cringy, but I came for an open day in 2018. I took a year out, and there was the a cappella society, and I was like, that's something I really want to be involved with, and I'm now on committee for a cappella society. But the society's really, really made me want to come here, and my course is very small, and that's something that really, really that made me want to come here as well. So the lecturers are amazing. They're really, really lovely to us, and they're really supportive. And I think that's something about Newcastle University. I think professors, lecturers, and just like all support and staff are really lovely. And it's something I've really enjoyed about being here, and I'd like to bring that forward myself as education officer, and I'd like to be accessible to people as well, so that anyone could come to me. Yeah.
Right. As an international student, why did you choose to be at Newcastle?
Well, that's a very interesting question again. Actually, there are multiple reasons behind joining this university. The first reason is that the language department has great prestige. This is what I heard and read about it. Moreover, I joined this university because it is situated in a small and the beautiful, city, Newcastle. So I read about it a lot and I heard about it, a lot. That's why I joined this university. And as well as it has multiple, societies where you can go and explore your abilities and capabilities. This is what I'm doing nowadays. I'm exploring different societies and learning a lot about it. I've joined different societies. There I'm putting my, potential there, and I'm sharing my different experiences in different fields with them.
Good. Karis?
Yeah. So I chose Newcastle because the course was ideal for me. It let me do Chinese without it taking over the entire degree, which a lot of other universities didn't offer. And I loved being able to walk across the city everywhere and just get everywhere by foot and get all of my steps in. And I really liked the SU when I came and saw the buildings and the beautiful bit of campus that I get to stay on as an English student because we don't have to walk very far, and the opportunities that were available to me to do, and the ways that I could just meet people and make a community really easily.
Right. I think the city is one of the most affordable places for students. Yeah, okay, so now it's time for the closing statements. I'll give you 1 minute each. You can close your debate by telling what you want to. Let me start with Asad.
As I already told you, that my motto is equality, inclusivity, empowerment, and collaboration. So I will try my hardest best to, make my motto in the true, make my motto realize in the true spirit, to facilitate and support the students and address the issues they are facing. And I will extend my collaboration with the concerned authorities for the well-being and betterment of all the students, as well as I would love for strengthening the academic representation so that I may become the voice of the students. So I would request you all, please vote for me number one, and make me your voice so that we can solve our issues together. Because together we can learn and earn more. Thank you.
Thank you. Karis?
Okay, so I'd like to start with saying thank you for letting me be here. Thank you for Student Media and NUTV for hosting this. If you'd like to know any more about my campaign and my manifesto points, you can find my Instagram online. And if you would like to vote for me because you think I've been caring and passionate about this role, as I hope I've shown you I am, please vote me number one on March 6th.
Thank you. Chloe?
I'd like to thank Student Media and NUTV for giving us this opportunity to kind of show what we're about. And I'd also like to thank NUSU for having these roles. I think they're really, really crucial. If you'd like to vote me, please vote me number one on the 6th of March. I'd really like to make the university different. And I'd like to also improve on things that Mac's already done this year as education officer, as I think he's done some really, really wonderful things. But yes, if you'd like to vote me number one on the 6th of March.
Thank you, guys. That was a healthy discussion. All the very best for your elections. Hope we all get a chance to
Candidates who come today, we really, really appreciate you coming. I'm nervous just doing this. I can't even imagine how nervous they were, but you all did a really fantastic job. It was great to hear from you. The candidates for postgraduate officer are here. That will be our next debate in about 10 minutes' time. That will be kicking off at 7. I did consider standing up and vamping here for 10 minutes, but I don't think anyone really wants that. So for anyone here or watching online, go off and get a cup of tea or a little snack and be back here for 7 when we will see our postgraduate officer debate kick off. See you then. Good evening, everyone here in the room tonight, watching at home. Good evening to our candidates. This is the second of the Newcastle Student Union election debates. This is the debate for Postgraduate Officer. My name's Martha. I'm a member of the editorial team at the Courier. I'm studying for my master's here, and I will be your host for this evening. A few notices before we get going. So the first thing I'm just going to read out is the NUSU Student Media Election Debate Statement of Respect. So NUSU welcomes all Newcastle University students to the 2023 election debates organised and broadcast by NUSU Student Media. Our priority is to facilitate a fair and democratic election, and we believe in the freedom of speech and right for all students to express their views. However, we will not tolerate harassment or discrimination of any kind at these debates. We ask that at all times you treat fellow students, colleagues and staff with respect. Anyone displaying rude, aggressive or otherwise inappropriate behaviour within the question submission form or in the room will be immediately removed and will be unable to play an active role in this or future debates relating to the 2023 student elections. So all the questions that are going to be asked tonight have been submitted via the question form just for vetting purposes. So that means there'll be no questions from the room, and the YouTube comments on the live stream have also been turned off. A quick note to the candidates before we begin. When the debate begins, it would be great if you could introduce yourselves with your name and your pronouns. And also there'll be no need to ask for any of the questions to be repeated because they will be on the screen up there the whole time. So yeah, I'll hand over to you now. Good luck, everyone. Can't wait to hear from you.
Hi all, welcome all of you. And before starting the questions, I would like to give the floor to you guys. Starting from my left, Stephen, I would like you to give your opening statement, please.
As the name is called, my name is Stephen Afiru. I'm a master's student in accounting and finance, and I'm running for the position of postgraduate officer. And I'm happy to be here to discuss and share among my contestants. Thank you.
Rishabh.
Hello everybody, my name is Rishabh Dhuria and I am from Bangalore, India. And I am currently studying Masters in Advanced Computer Science. And my manifesto is built on 3 pillars, that is support, representation and progress. Yeah.
Hi Chirag, yes, you can.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chirag Kumar. I am a master's student in Renewable Energy, Enterprise and Management. My pronouns are he and him. And my manifesto mainly runs on accessibility, inclusivity, and making sure that everyone has a great experience at Newcastle University. And let's just have a fun and great debate tonight.
Thank you all of you. So starting with the first question. The first question is, how are you planning to continue the efforts made to mitigate cost of living crisis? Chirag.
The current student union team have done a great job with making sure that there's £1 meals and making sure that there's a food bank, so on and so forth. But in the coming months, there's going to be a much higher requirement to make sure that the housing crisis need to be mitigated. We also need to make sure that there's enough food, because the food prices are increasing, electricity prices are increasing. We have to make sure that our students are able to take care of themselves, and we need to make sure that everyone has a great time at the university and make sure that mental well-being is an important part of making sure that they're having a great time here. So that's what I think.
Rishabh.
Yeah, I agree with my fellow candidate. And I also believe that we need a long-term solution for this particular issue. Right now, the cost of living crisis is a huge issue all around the UK. And it looks like as if it is going to increase even more. So I believe a long-term solution is very much necessary as of now, especially for students.
Stephen, would you like to contribute?
Actually, I've seen a great effort on the current union trying to see that they alleviate the suffering of the students. And in as much as they have done, we will do more. Explore ways where we can maintain or to see that we bring it down to the barest minimum. Because as time goes, we see this kind of thing, the cost of living keeps soaring high. We'll do what we can do to ensure that that is maintained to the barest minimum.
Thank you. Moving on, I would like to know from you, Rahul, what kind of support will you, I'm sorry, Rishabh, what kind of support will you be able to provide to PGR students, specifically considering they have a completely different life from PGT students?
Yes, I definitely understand that PGR students have a very unique lifestyle from PGT students, that is postgraduate taught students. So firstly, I would establish a clear communication channel with the PGR students and understand what kind of problems they have. I am a PGT student as of now, so I don't really understand what kind of what kind of issues PGR students face. So firstly, I would like to understand them, and then try to figure out a solution, whether what kind of support they need, whether it is related to mental health or whether it is something related to their field itself, what kind of industry, whether they need any industry support or something like that.
Similar to that, there has been a question that all of your manifestos do not show any much on PGR. So do you have anything to comment on that? Stephen.
Well, on the matter on ground, I see that part of the solution to the problem is to engage in student initiative research, where you be able to gather data, survey, and some other things to see their grievances and to see how you can actually come in to make life common among the two categories of students.
Chirag.
Well, unlike my fellow candidates, I actually did go through a little deep diving with regards to how PGR students really work. And I was actually able to find out that there are certain issues that they face that us PGT students or undergrad students don't go through. Some of that include having an ATAS issue. There's also the issue about them when they're graduating. They don't know in which sector they might need to go into. So that's career guidance coming in. And there's also the part where PGR students will need to have their own research material published. That means they have a chance of having a patent or in terms of any other funding opportunities that they can get. Me, myself, I'm a startup person as well. So if you need a year, I'm always there. Even if you call me in the middle of the night and say, hey, can I talk to you? I'm that person. So if you have any of that kind of ideas, please let me know. And please remember, I am looking into all the issues that you face, and then I hope you have a greater experience in the coming years. Thank you.
Thank you, Chirag.
I would like to add to that. Yeah. So in my manifesto, I have mentioned about a few things, that is increasing funding opportunities, and also about increasing opportunities for startups. Well, startups is not specifically for PGR students, it is for all the students. But if you speak about PGR students specifically, then I have also written about postgraduate mentorship program, which is like, it helps the students connect with like industry professionals and also the alumni, so they can get more advice and guidance of how to do things and how they can get help from the industry itself.
And please, one more thing. It seems as if we have left that issue aside now. When we talk about postgraduate, it includes the research and the thought. So that is inclusive, and we hope to tackle it accordingly if elected.
Now that you have addressed that issue, how do you think that current student experience has been evolved and included into from the current student union, as in students whose past experiences, are they taking it account?
Yeah, the experience is that the current student union have been doing their best, because when I came in newly, I felt that impact. And so all that we need to do is to build on. Where they stop, if elected, we continue. So that is the experience so far.
What about you, Chirag? What do you think on it?
I think the current NUSU team have done a great job, and moving forward, it's going to be much harder for us when we come into their positions, even if it's not me, even if it's one of my fellow candidates here. The amount of work that they've done in the last year is on a much higher level because they were able to even get in touch with the MP and make sure that such cost of living crisis issues have been raised in the parliament. This is not just a small thing, this is a big thing. So trying to do anything bigger than that, it's going to take a lot of effort. So I definitely think that they've done their best, and moving forward, I hope that we can do the same thing as well.
Do you support that?
Yeah, so I am actually very happy with the current experience that I've had with the Students' Union as of now. But I also believe that there is always something more that we can do for the student experience.
Okay, since you addressed that, once selected, what is your plan of action for the first 3 months of your tenure?
Okay. So firstly, my first priority is to set up a postgraduate mentorship program, which will help all the postgraduate students to get some guidance or advice or any sort of support they need from their alumni or experienced postgraduates.
Okay, I will also like to direct the same question to you, Chirag.
So the thing is that it's not just going to be for the 3 months because we have less than 1.5 months because the incoming students are going to be on their way pretty soon, and they're already looking at Newcastle University as their first choice, and they're already on their way, either locals, internationals, or people just from different parts of the UK. So making sure that their needs are met, it's not going to be in the 3 months, it's going to have to be done in the next 1.5 months. That means that issues such as making sure that there is a place for them to stay, making sure that there's enough food for them, making sure that things like ATAS issues are handled again, because it's not just postgraduate thought or postgraduate research students that face this issue. We also need to make sure that there is enough mapping allowance allowed to these students, because they need to know where they can go to find the best deals on their price, because it's not easy. Once you're coming in, it's a different ball game scenario here. You can just land up one day and go to a random shop and say, hey, this thing costs 15 pounds, but in another store, it could possibly be 3. So it's definitely not something we need to solve in 3 months. It's 1.5 months.
Okay, and Stephen, what do you think on it?
Just to add to what they have said, actually, sometimes issues like this need planning. First of all, we sit down to plan to see how we accomplish such and the cost implication, so that whatever you want to do, the impact will be on all. So first thing is to plan before you switch into action.
Okay.
And budget is very essential, because you can't do anything without having your plan expenditure, because you're not going to do it above your limit. It has to be within your limit. So that we will look into first of all. And once all things are set, we sweep into action, and the impact will be felt by many.
Okay, and how do you plan to incorporate the opinion and experience of part-time and online students, Stephen?
Like I said before, actually, these are different programs. In order to get insight into that, I think there's a need for a student initiative research that has to be done, where you issue questionnaires, survey, you collect opinions, and to study to see where there are grievances, and see how you can also take it forward, especially if it is not reflecting in the student union strategic plan. You need to incorporate it so that everyone be carried along together. There will be no any segment that will be left out. That is what I plan to do.
What about you, Chirag? How do you plan to handle this situation?
With regards to part-time and online students, you need to make sure that you understand what is their motivation to actually do this course, whether it's to increase their ladder in the corporate industry or just to have an extra course on their CV. And the only way to know that is to actually conduct the pulse surveys that are currently going on with the student union. We just need to make sure that it's also sent out to part-time and online students. I don't know if they're currently doing this because I don't have access because I'm not a part-time or an online student, but I would like to know as well. Other than that, I would like to have a one-on-one with one of the students, at least from each course, over the course period whenever possible. That's how I think we can address that issue.
What about you?
Yeah, so I actually agree with my fellow candidate Stephen here. We need to conduct surveys and have the opinions of part-time and online students. And I also believe that we should create focus groups and town hall meetings, which will help us understand what exactly is happening and what kind of issues these part-time students and online students face, so we can address them.
And how do you plan to put internal and external stakeholders on equal standing, Rishabh?
Okay, that is a very important question in my opinion. So this is to put internal and external stakeholders on an equal standing is a pretty hard thing to do, because some internal stakeholders may have more information about what's happening inside the entity, but external stakeholders might not have as much information about what's happening inside. So it is like we need to have better communication between them so that they understand what's happening inside, and we should also understand what is their look from the outside, what is happening according to them, like what is the entity doing. So it is like more communication will help out a lot.
Okay. And Chirag, do you have some input?
Adding on to what my fellow candidate Rishabh said, making sure that internal and external stakeholders have a say in what we do is a big part of what NUSU is as a whole, but also making sure that both sides of the coin are equally handled is definitely going to be a hard part to make sure that it's even. But there will be times when one part of the coin is going to be shown more than the other side. But the main fact comes in that you have to make sure that the other side doesn't lose out, rather than trying to make sure that one side wins. It's not about if both are equal or if one is winning or the other is losing. It's to make sure that everyone is equal, but also not losing anything at the same time. Thank you.
Stephen, would you like to add?
Yeah, just to add, in such cases, what you do is to construct a matrix to see how you can monitor and at the same time relate with both parties. Because if you don't understand their importance, it will not be easy for you to handle them at the same level. So it's good to do that.
Okay. And next question would be from Chirag. How do you measure your achievements and success in life?
That's a very personal question. I'm sure a lot of people would like to think about it, because I definitely did when I first ever heard this question. I would think that making sure that I'm making an impact in life is one way to look at how achievements can be made, but along the way, making sure that your friends, your family have a smile on their face while you're doing it, and maybe make some ka-ching on the way. I think that's how you can measure achievement. With regards to success, there's not an easy way to define success, because success means different things to different people. But having a nice sleep at night, making sure your bed is warm, your family happy, and there's food on the table, that's, I think, how you can define success. It's not about driving that next fast car or having that next huge building to sleep in. It's just making sure that you're happy and you're not sad.
What about you? How do you want to address this?
Yeah, so achievements and success are two different things. So in my opinion, recently I was featured on the Newcastle University Instagram profile for my photo, which was a really proud thing for me. So that was a big achievement for me, but I wouldn't call that as success.
Okay.
So in my opinion, I would measure my success in two ways. That is the level of effort I put into it, and the eagerness that I have to succeed in that particular thing.
What about you, Stephen?
Just like he said, I look at myself achieving much, even for having the opportunity to be in Newcastle, to be at this point at this time. To me, it's an achievement. But for success, success, like he said, it depends on the way you see it. So I want to agree with him. When you're happy, that's success. If you sleep well, if you have friends around, there are so many things you can measure it depending on how you look at it. So that is just how I measure success in life.
Okay. Now, next question is a slightly controversial one. Why do you think you should be a PG officer and not your fellow candidates?
Okay, that's a really good question. So this is where the debate starts, I guess. Okay, so yeah, I believe both the other candidates have really good manifestos,
Yeah.
and I believe I should be given this chance because I have clearly mentioned what goals I have if I become a PG officer, that is postgraduate officer, and I believe I have the skill sets that will help out the whole university as a whole.
Okay. And what about you, Stephen?
When I went through the manifesto, they are okay. But for me, I looked at myself more qualified because of the passion. And if you look at the core value of my manifesto, it's all about diversity and value addition.
Okay. And Chirag, what do you say?
There's no easy way other than trying to put other people down, but I don't think that we're here for something like that. But I would say that if you look at the timeline, I think that we've been through so much in the last few years, but more than others, having some experiences, which I put in my manifesto particularly, making sure that it's not just locals, it's not just nationals, it's not just internationals, making sure that everyone's point of view is taken into account. That's what I think a person who is a PG officer in NUSU should really represent, and I believe that I am that person. That's what I think.
Okay. Now I have few specific questions from each one of you, and I would like to start from Rishabh. So Rishabh, what is your stand on UCU strike action and its impact on students?
Okay, so first of all, I believe that students should be the topmost priority of any university because that is how university runs. So I do understand that UCU strike action, that is university and college union strike actions, are also important because that is for the rights of the staff. So it is also a part of the university itself. So I believe we need to find a balance between the impact that it is causing the students and also what the rights these staff members are asking for. So we need to find a balance where it impacts less to the students and also the staff members get their rights.
Okay. And Stephen, for you, how do you plan to promote cultural diversity among students?
Thank you for the question. When I saw it, I just looked at my manifesto. I said, these people have picked something here. Actually, when I came to Newcastle, I discovered that the institution is already promoting diversity. Because I was thinking I would come and see just a particular set of people, but when I came, I saw people from Asian, Africa, and some other things. So I think to promote diversity is good. And what I intend to do is to organize a program, a celebration for cultural diversity. This program will be able to gather all the students to showcase their culture. And I also plan to engage a speaker to talk to us about cultures and events like that will share experiences. Because when I came on the 26th of last month, I was invited to a Chinese cultural program. I was there, I enjoyed it. And there are some things I don't know before about Chinese, but that day. So I hope to do something that will have an impact, that will unite the students despite their cultural diversity, so that every culture will be inclusive. Nothing will be left out. And I am just beginning to see if that will happen. I know that NUSU will be greater.
Yes, thank you so much. And Chirag, for you, what is your understanding of mental health and how do you plan on researching further on it?
Mental health can be defined by different people as different things. For some, it could be just psychological well-being. For some, it could be physical. For some, it could be emotional. But each person defines their own way of mental well-being. But coming back to the question, I just want to share a little story. This started like 1 year ago, in last February. A person started applying to universities. He started getting offers. But from getting the offer to actually getting to the UK, it took 6 months. And then when he first came here, he went into the hotel and he had no one to really talk to. It was just a new experience because coming out into a different country is not a joke because you're leaving everything behind. And this doesn't just apply to me, it applies to a lot of other people, nationals, locals. You're leaving everything behind to come to a different place, experience new things. But then you go through a lot of things, like you go to the university, you see how the marking system is, you don't understand how it's happening, you're stressed, you're worried, you see your friends hanging out with different people, you don't know if you're invited, you're still trying to make new friends. And then there's events, you don't know if you can go to them because you don't know if it's disrespectful. You just don't know exactly what's happening. And these issues, it's not just to me, it's to everyone. So I think making sure that before that person feels such a situation is happening, making sure that we're able to be there for them, making sure that we just don't interact with them through surveys or just please come over, talk to us. I don't think that's the way we could do this. We need to start working more towards the time that they could actually feel that kind of emotions and making sure that they have something to talk to or someone to talk to, like maybe increasing another welfare animal like Bessie that we already have. It could be a range of things, but unless and until we start trying, I don't think mental well-being would really be something that one person can define, because I am no expert, and I don't think I can play the expert either. So that's why I think that we should really work towards mental well-being, not just for us, but for everyone at Newcastle as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was well said. Now I would also like to ask all of you, what attracted you to the postgraduate study at Newcastle University, starting from Rishabh?
Yeah, so first of all, when I was looking for studies abroad, I am from India, by the way. So when I was looking for studies abroad, I was looking for specific universities which offered good computer science degrees. So when I was searching for them, Newcastle University was one of them. And I also was taking into account that it is one of the biggest sustainable universities in the world. So that is a huge thing for me.
Stephen, why did you come all the way from home to here?
I have been desiring to study abroad, and Newcastle is the second or third university I applied. And when I saw the course, the combination of the course, I got attracted. To be very frank with you, I got admission into 5 universities in UK. I decided to choose Newcastle based on the background I heard about it. So that brought me here, and as I came, I know that there's a task for me to accomplish, which is a certificate and possibly this race we are into.
Chirag.
I'm a renewable energy student, postgraduate in particular. There are definitely much more high-ranked universities that can provide the same renewable energy course, but there's just something about Newcastle. It's not about the low cost of living here, even though it's rising. It's not about the parties. It's not about the modules or the lectures that we have, who are amazing, by the way. There's no way to describe them. It's not about the socials that we have every Friday, having free chocolates and stuff like that. There's just something about Newcastle that when you just read or you listen about Newcastle, you just think, hey, that's a great place to be. And I think that all of us here have chosen Newcastle due to different reasons, but at the end of the day, what really makes us part of Newcastle is us. That's what I think.
Okay, thank you for that. Now moving on, I would like to ask you, Rishabh, how can you improve accessibility for postgraduate students across campus?
Okay, so accessibility is a very huge deal because some students have different needs. Some of them might be physically disabled, some of them might have some other conditions. So for that, for physical needs, we can do a lot of things. We can improve the infrastructure that we have right now. Actually, we need a lot of accessibility in this current building, that is NUSU, because there's not much options for disabled people. And in terms of people who are facing learning disabilities, like it could be, I can't think of it right now, but yeah. So for them, I would keep a different program which enables them to understand what's happening in the university and how they're teaching in the university.
Chirag?
I don't want to get all philosophical about what accessibility means, but just some of the points that I think we should really focus on is, one, making sure that Freshers Week, everyone is able to access it, because me personally, I wasn't able to because I came a week later. That meant I lost out on a lot of things. And then with regards to making sure that everyone has a level playing field when they're coming in, whether it's local, national, or international, such as understanding how a report should be structured, or how the grading system should be, how the referencing should be, making sure that there's an online video course about, hey, you need to do all this, then you get better grades, or better yet, you're going to understand more, making sure they have enough understanding of how English is spoken before, because different people speak in different ways, and just having maybe a week's worth of intro to that could definitely help accessibility. Sorry for that. Just accessibility doesn't just mean that we need more places for people to be able to access, and I don't mean that in a wrong way. We definitely need to be able to have people go around places, but accessibility just doesn't end there. It's more inclusive, it's more open-ended, and it depends on how people look at it. Thank you.
Stephen, what's your take on this?
A lot has been said, but I think I want to just add to that. We also look into the aspect of refugees. We ensure that they also benefit from this accessibility, because I understand that some of our students are on they're either refugees or they came here on asylum. So that aspect has to be looking into so that they will have these accessibility facilities.
Okay. And what do you feel are the different challenges for taught and research postgraduate students, Stephen?
There is nothing that goes without a challenge or challenges. Yes, I agree there are challenges. What I intend doing is to identify the specific challenges between these two courses or two groups. When you identify it, you begin to see how you can proffer solution. And all this will make one to go into a research between the focus group and bring out a template that will be able to solve the problem in between. And I also look at it from another perspective that they are all academic programs which people apply by choice. So despite that, we will harmonize. See how you harmonize any difference to make sure that at the end, the focus and the achievement goes in the same direction.
Okay.
Because the differences is not much. It's all about in-depth research, and this one involving lectures and some other seminars. So if specific problems are identified, solution can be provided to harmonize all this. Thank you.
Yeah, so most of the postgraduate students, whether they are research or taught students, not all of them, sorry, most of them are international students. So the first thing that comes to my mind is mental well-being, because when I came in, first 2 months were fine, but then third month was like kind of difficult because I was missing my home and I was missing my friends and family and all of those things. So that is a very huge thing. And other problems or challenges these postgraduate students face would be with learning new stuff, because postgraduate courses are, I would say, fast-paced, because I'm currently doing masters, and I felt it was a very fast-paced course, so they need to learn a lot of things in a short amount of time.
Chirag?
I think we can just go with 3 points for thought and 3 points for research. With regards to thought, I think that we need more accessibility before we even start our course. That means that we need to know about how everything works, whether it's software or hardware, before we even come here, whether it's local, national, or international. I think that with regards to when you're here, I think you need more accessibility with regards to making sure that you have all the information in your hands. NUSU is doing a great job with making sure that there's enough of that material available, but I think we could still have more. And after, we need career guidance. That means that even though we're just starting our course, we need to be able to apply for jobs or looking at what we could do back in our own country or here, even for the nationals as well. But with postgraduate research students, it's a different ball game, because they're going to be here for more years. That means that it's much harder for them. At the same time, they have much more time, but more intense. They have their own issues other than the ones that postgraduate thought students already go through. But making sure that their mental well-being is good, making sure that they have the same access as what PGT or undergrad students have, making sure that they have the same amount of career capability when they graduate from here is a pretty big challenge, I would say.
Okay. Now, before we move on to your ending statements, closing statements, I would like to give one last question to you all. How would you decolonize the curriculum? Yeah, Chirag.
Decolonizing the curriculum. Nice word to put on that. I think the main thing would be making sure that all parts of the curriculum are displayed to the students before they even understand what the course is about. Everything is in their right positions, making sure that they have enough background material to understand what the course is about, what the course entails, what the course is going to be about, and how the assessment is going to be, making sure that the PEC is not too intensive, not too many questions asked, making sure that students are able to go through their PEC without having any issues or having to provide a lot of information for just a week's worth of extension. I think all these things could definitely help decolonize the curriculum.
What about you, Rishabh?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of things that my fellow candidate said. And there's one thing in particular that I feel needs to be done in decolonizing the curriculum. That is to make it more inclusive. Inclusive in the sense, now let's say there's a lecture happening. Most of the students, at least I felt that when the lectures were happening, sometimes it wasn't that connecting. So you need to make it feel more connecting so that the students can engage with the lecturer itself and understand what's happening. So yeah, that's what I would like to improve.
Stephen?
just to add to what you have said, because a lot has been said, part of the process of decolonizing the curriculum is to ensure that the curriculum is to the barest minimum simplified to the understanding of every student. And also the lecturers. Once that is done, I want to believe that the process of lecturing and other things will have less trouble, because if you understand where you are going, you don't have much on the way to suffer. So the simplicity of the curriculum is very key at this point. When you do that, I think every other thing will go well in that direction.
Okay. Thank you so much. So now we will move on to the closing statement. Chirag.
Hi everyone, my name is Chirag Padmesh Kumar and I'm running for the PG officer. I'm a renewable energy student and I hope my passion for being PG officer has shown through via this debate that we had today, and I hope everyone had a nice and warm discussion about it. I thank the NUSU team and the NUTV team for arranging for this debate. It was really wonderful. It was a nice chat before and after. And stealing some words from Meg from last year, I would say, I hope my passion has shown through with all the content that I tried to put out. And I hope you guys vote number 1 for Chirag Kumar for PG officer. Thank you.
Rishabh.
Yeah, so again, I would like to sorry. So I would like to say this again, that is, students are the things that build the whole university. So they should be the topmost priority of any university, whether it's Newcastle University or any other university. So I believe students need to have a much greater voice, and I am representing postgraduate students. I want to represent postgraduate students, so I believe even postgraduate students have as much power and ability as undergrad students, and they need to keep their voice up. Yeah.
Stephen.
Once again, I'm Stephen Afiru, a master's in accounting and finance. I want to appreciate everyone being here. It's a privilege, and I want to appreciate the crew members of this house. I also want to appreciate NUSU for a very good job. Actually, it's a good job, I can see. And just to remind you, the race is on. I'm soliciting for support, and with the passion that I have, I want to believe you have a reason to go along with me, even on the election day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, all of you. I hope a lot of questions have been answered and we have a healthy elections coming forward. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
So I'd just like to thank everyone who tuned in tonight, everyone who's come, and of course our candidates. As a postgrad student myself, it was really lovely to hear all of your ideas. So on behalf of all the postgrad students here at Newcastle, thank you for coming, thank you for running, thank you for all the thought that you've so clearly put into the aspects of our student experience. Good luck to all 3 of you in the election.
Thank you so much.
So yeah, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you to the NUTV team at the back of the room. And the debates for welfare and equality officer and the athletic union officer are being held tomorrow night, again at 6 and 7. So make sure you tune in again then. But for now, it's goodbye from us. See you soon.